Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Reef Health Update. I'm coming to you from the Whitsundays where we're currently working with the teams of people who are helping to assess the unfolding coral bleaching event on the Great Barrier Reef. Sea surface temperatures are still cooling over the Great Barrier Reef, however they remain above the long-term averages for March. The weather window has actually meant that we've been able to complete all of the aerial surveys that we've been doing over the past few weeks, with the final campaign concluding up in the far northern region. Of the 588 surveys that have been analysed so far, those have really spanned from Cape Melville down through to Bundaberg, and actually covering many of the areas that have actually seen the most accumulated heat stress. These aerial surveys have confirmed what we've already reported, that we've got a widespread coral bleaching event unfolding across the Great Barrier Reef, with many of the corals in the shallow areas of the reefs that have been surveyed showing clear signs of coral bleaching. And in some instances, some of the in-water surveys are also showing early signs of mortality in some corals. Now that we have all of the aerial survey information, we'll be working with our partners from the Australian Institute of Marine Science to analyse this data so that we can provide a full picture of what's happening in terms of the extent of this coral bleaching event. We're also continuing our work with partner agencies to understand what's happening underneath the water by conducting in-water surveys. These will be conducted over the next several weeks, and then that information will be pulled together so that we can actually inform what's happening in terms of the severity as well as the extent of this coral bleaching event. We're also continuing to work with our partners to understand what's happening underneath the water so that we can understand the depth range and the severity of the effects upon individual corals and actual coral communities in the Great Barrier Reef, and this information will be brought together over the coming weeks. Beyond the assessment of the impact of this coral bleaching event, and for that matter the cyclones that happened earlier in this year, we're bringing together all of this information, and it's already being used by programs that actually focus upon management actions in the marine park. These include our compliance programs but also our crown of thorn starfish control program. I'd now like to introduce you to my colleague Dr. David Williamson, who leads much of the crown of thorn starfish work in the marine park, so that he can give you an understanding of how we're using the information that's coming in from the field, both how the program is helping to capture that information on reef health but also how they're using it to target control activities. Over to you, Dave.
Thanks, Roger. My name's Dave Williamson. I help to lead the crown of thorn starfish control program at the Reef Authority. Crown of thorn starfish, or cots as we know them, are voracious coral predators. They're native to the reef. They've always been here as far as we're aware. And at low densities, they're absolutely fine. The ecosystem can sustain them. Coral growth and recovery can outpace the rate at which it's being eaten by the starfish. But when they reach outbreak densities, they become a real problem and they degrade reef condition. So when crown of thorn starfish reach outbreak proportions, they cause major damage to coral reefs. We're talking about serious reef degradation and coral loss across vast areas. And it's very important that we double down on the actions that we know work to protect coral on the reef, and one of those is the crown of thorn starfish control program. The Crown of Thorn Starfish Control Program has been operating for a number of years now. We currently have 6 vessels deployed across the reef to conduct targeted surveillance and culling on high-value reefs throughout the marine park. At the moment, we're doubling down on the level of surveillance effort that we're putting into understanding the scale of the bleaching that we're seeing on the reef at the moment. And that's allowing us to get a much better picture of how we should optimally be targeting the COTS control program to achieve maximum coral protection benefit. I think as we move forward, we're going to have a much better understanding of how much coral we've actually lost during this bleaching event. We're going to need to take some time to actually figure that out, but over the next few months the picture will become much clearer, and from there we will look at how we can retarget the COTS control program to achieve maximum coral benefit across the park. Thanks very much. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks, Dave, for those insights. We'll continue to bring together the information upon what's happening on the Great Barrier Reef over the coming weeks. It's now more important than ever that we get as much information as possible, and of course you can help us by downloading the Eye on the Reef app and providing sightings on what you see when you're out in the marine park. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to bringing you the next Reef Health Update next week.